The Conjuring franchise has been a mixed bag when it comes to quality. You have the great first movie, a good sequel, and a good third movie with The Devil Made Me Do It. Where the quality started to be bad was with the spin-offs, like the first The Nun movie and The Curse of La Llorona. Now we have come to the last movie in the franchise, at least officially, with The Conjuring Last Rites. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are back as the Warrens, the very well-known paranormal investigators. And this movie is about the Smurl case. A case that is not as well known as the others in this franchise. But it is again about demonic possession and haunting, like these movies usually are. But I have to say that this movie is done in a very good way. It is a very good ending to this franchise. It is a well-deserved ending to these characters. We get introduced to new characters like the Warren's daughter, Judy Warren. The first scene is about when she is born and how she is connected to the supernatural in the movie. And that ties into the main story of this movie, the Smurl family and their possession case and their family dynamics. The director of this movie, he directed La Llorona and the first Nun movie, I think. Or maybe it was someone else. I can't really remember now. I don't really think he is a good enough director usually for these movies. But here he really does a great job. Especially because the script is very strong. The story is quite captivating and it goes back to the feeling of the first movie kind of. There are a lot of things that this movie does well to up the quality for this finishing chapter. Even though it doesn't do anything out of the usual, nothing that we have not seen before in this franchise. It goes from A to B in a quite predictable way. But getting there is quite interesting. The story is well written enough to be interesting. Still, the movie looks great visually. The production design, the cinematography is top-notch. There are many sequences that are creepy by themselves. But I don't really think that the movie is very scary. But that doesn't take away from the execution. It's a great movie on its own, a great story still. When I mentioned the predictability, I'm mainly talking about that the demon part of this is just done in a very predictable way. But I think that was done intentionally. It reminds you a lot about the first movie. It's kind of built like the first movie when it comes to the structure. And seeing the box office for this movie, I don't really think that it will be the last movie in this franchise. Because it is a very big hit, I think they will rather want to do a new movie sooner than later, or make a TV series. But I definitely don't think that this is the last time we see this franchise. Maybe that it is the last time we see the Warrens, because this really functions as a good ending for them. You get satisfying ending arcs for these two characters. And if they decide to do more in this franchise, I think they will introduce new characters. The issue for me with these movies is that I don't find them that scary. The first one was kind of scary, but not the rest of them. Because when you show the monster often during your movie, it loses its impact. It's not that scary to see them fully all the time in the movie. This franchise could use a little bit more ambiguity and open endings and so on to feel like it's a horror movie and feel like it's scary to me, because I just don't find it scary here. But I do tend to not feel that this subgenre in horror is that scary. I don't think that the supernatural is that scary unless you do something really, really great with it. These movies for me tend to feel like PG horror. And it's not that I want more blood in these movies, I just want more brutality in a psychological way, and not really knowing what is causing these hauntings, not really knowing what it is, not knowing what the creature is, or what the ghost is, or what the demon is, and what it wants, and so on. To me, knowing as little as possible is just more scary. Not that I don't want to know how things work in the story, but I want to know what the ghost is capable of, or what the demon is capable of, and that it messes with you in a psychological way rather than jump scares. And not physically seeing it, because when you see something, usually it's not as scary. Especially when it's something supernatural. That's why I personally tend to like slashers more, because it's something that can practically happen. And in these sort of movies, it's just usually a monster or a creature or a demon. And they do tend to work on me more if they are a symbol for something else and not actually there. But like I said, this is still a great movie. It's well acted, well written, and well directed. It's just not a subgenre I prefer, unless it's a symbol for something more real world connected. My favorites in this subgenre of horror is The Blair Witch, or The First Paranormal Activity, or The Exorcist, or The Shining. Because, for example, in The Exorcist you get really great characters and you feel the tension and how the mother is breaking down from the situation she is in with the possession of her daughter. And in The Shining you don't get clear-cut answers to what is happening. You do get a story that starts and ends, but you don't get all the answers surrounding how these supernatural elements work. And that is something that is more exciting to me than getting all the answers to how something works. But it all depends on the execution, of course. You can get all the answers, but if it's well structured, it's still exciting to see how it folds out. And in the Conjuring Last Rites, it really works. It's a well-told story, just a little bit predictable, with some characters that were not really needed in this story, but it is a good so-called ending to this franchise. I am giving The Conjuring Last Rites a 7 out of 10. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Also, don't forget to smash the bell icon so that you don't miss any of my future videos. This has been Phantom Frame. Thank you so much for watching.